Good evening, everyone. My name is Zahn Eastus. It's 6:30 on Monday, February 26th, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Guilford Select Board to order. We'll start the meeting off. Welcome to everyone in the room here, and welcome to everyone who's online. We do need just for folks online, we're all getting the hang of this, but if there are any new people online, we need to see your first and last name so that we can have our records correct for the town records. So I see WDB Los. If we could have maybe that's enough. That might be enough. If you'd like to tell us what your first name is, that'd be great. But
William, but Will. I'm not sure how to do that, how to change it.
Okay, good. Well, so we know now. Will Los. All right, thanks very much. Nice to see you. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll start off by asking Rusty to read the rules of procedure.
Okay. The Select Board has a set of rules and procedures that are for all Guilford public meetings and are now shared with all committees and commissions. They are here in the chat online and published on the town website. These rules request that everyone present at the meeting conduct themselves in a civil manner. Tonight, individuals have a reasonable time to comment on actions the Select Board is considering. Comments and questions will inform the Select Board's decision-making process. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will be heard, not responded to. There will be no exchange between the Select Board and a commenter. No questions will be responded to. Any questions will be recorded and responded to in a timely fashion. Additionally, here in the room and in the chat online, there is some basic information which includes how to contact Select Board members, how to secure a spot during the community comment portion of the meeting, how to get on the agenda, and how to communicate with the board via mail or email.
Okay, thanks very much, Rusty. Thank you. Then we'll move right along to the next order of the agenda, which is welcoming of the public, and we have some community comments. I understand, Brenda.
Yes. So we have 2 community comments tonight, and the first one will be by Jason Herron. So, Jason, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Chairman Estes and Select Board members. I'd like to talk tonight or have a communication about the elected auditor position. And I have to read some of this because it is some statutes, so bear with me. It says, every town in Vermont must elect 3 auditors unless the town has voted to eliminate the office. And you'll find that in 17 VSA 2646. It says at an annual meeting, a town shall choose from among its registered voters the following town officers. It lists a bunch, but in this case, we're talking about the auditor. So it says 1 auditor for the term of 3 years, so she'll be elected by ballot, unless the town has voted to eliminate the office of auditor. So what must a town do in order to eliminate the office of an auditor? Well, 17 VSA 2651 explains this, and it says the town may vote by ballot at an annual meeting to eliminate the office of town auditor. Well, you might ask, since Guilford has not voted to eliminate the office, how did we come to hire a professional accountant to perform our audits? And that's pretty easy when you look at 24 VSA 1690, because it says the legislative body may contract with a public accountant to perform an annual fiscal or financial audit of all funds of the town. So the Guilford Select Board has done this, but the town could have done the same thing, because in 24 VSA 1691, it says at an annual or special meeting, a town may authorize the employment of a certified public accountant and fix the terms of such employment. The thing is it continues there, and it says nothing herein shall be construed to relieve a town of the duty to elect auditors as provided by law. So no matter what, if the legislative authority approves an auditor, or if the people do it by vote, it does not relieve the town of the duty to elect an auditor. So we still elect auditors in Guilford because the law requires it. And until the town votes at an annual meeting to eliminate the office of town auditor, we must comply with the law. So another question you might ask is, why would we want to keep our elected auditors if the town hires a professional accounting firm? And I'd like to explain the reason for keeping our elected auditors by showing how important the role of an elected auditor is and how seriously the Vermont legislature takes that role. And you can see those truths in 17 VSA 2647. Now, this is the statute concerning incompatible offices or dual roles. In a lot of towns, you'll have several people playing dual roles or actively participating in dual roles. And the legislature says, well, you can do that to a certain extent. And so it starts in 17 VSA 2647, saying that the statute, an auditor shall not be town clerk, town treasurer, select board member, first constable, collector of current or delinquent taxes, trustee of public funds, town manager, road commissioner, water commissioner, sewage system commissioner, sewage disposal commissioner, cemetery commissioner, or town and school district director. Now, I read all of those because I wanted to show you how important it is that you cannot be a town auditor and basically be and hold any other role. And it even goes further. It says, not only would you not be allowed to be an auditor and a select board member, but your spouse or any person assisting any of these officers in the discharge of official duties be eligible to hold office as an auditor. So this is very serious, you know, and we know this is, so our current chairman was an elected auditor for Guilford when he was appointed as a select board member. And he had to resign his auditor role when he accepted the select board position because the offices are incompatible. Interestingly enough, if the current chairman was also the town clerk when he was appointed to the select board, he would not have been required to resign as the town clerk. They're not actually incompatible offices. Now, it is a conflict of interest if a select board member who was also the town clerk didn't recuse themselves when discussing business of the town clerk's office during a select board meeting, but the offices themselves are not incompatible. But notice this, you cannot be a library trustee and an auditor. You cannot even be the spouse of a library trustee and hold the position of elected auditor because they are incompatible offices. What I'm getting at here is that the select board should not be stating that Guilford elects auditors to simply design and edit the town report. Anyone can volunteer for that role and would gladly be accepted without running for office. Elected auditors are considered the watchdogs of the town's finances. They ensure everyone in Guilford is confident in the reporting of funds moving in and out of our town's ledgers. So you might ask now, well, who is reviewing the professional audit in a detailed way if it's not our elected auditors? Is our select board accountable for reviewing the audit? Well, at the last select board meeting, the chairman stated that, and this is a quote right here, the select board's traditional job, as I understand it, is we don't get engaged in reviewing the audit in a detailed way because all that work has been done by the staff. He goes on there, but that was the gist of the quote that I'm getting at here. So the select board admittedly doesn't review the audit, at least in a detailed way, and neither do our elected auditors because they're being told by the same select board that their role is to simply to format the town report. So now you want to ask, well, who is this?
Excuse me, Jason, but we have another community comment that is being offered tonight. And I think that you have made yourself clear and that we need to move on to the other community comment that's going to happen. So I really appreciate what you.
I'm fine. I'll end there. I did have some more. I saw on the agenda that it was Jason Herron for 10 minutes. I was thinking that I might take 7 or 8. Apparently that's not the case. There's someone else on the agenda other than Jason Herron for this community comment period.
That's true. Actually,
has the agenda been amended for that? My name's on there.
Jason, community comments are generally 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 3 people offering their community comments. And so because we understand the importance of what you had to say, you were offered 5 minutes, and now we're going to move on to the other community comment. So thank you very much. Okay, so Don, would you be interested? I noticed that
Linda,
yeah, no, I know. Is she here?
I don't think she is.
Yeah, so would you please offer the community comment that,
Okay, well,
Okay.
Linda was going, I don't know everything that she was intending to say. She wanted to remind people about pre-town meeting tomorrow evening.
Recording in progress.
could you come closer so that people could hear?
As well, okay. Yeah, I'm here. I can see both. I can see Jason and Tara. And well, here you both.
And the town of Guilford is muted.
Guilford SB, is that BCT?
Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
There you go.
We got,
All right.
can you hear me now, Tara? Can you hear us and see
I
us?
can,
Okay.
yes.
Sorry, we got dropped for a moment, unfortunately. Here we are back. So Don.
Okay, so we were just going to announce, Linda was going to announce, that we have pre-town meeting tomorrow night. You probably all know about this, but just a reminder, it's at 6:30 p.m. It's the Broadbrook Community Center. The Select Board will be presenting its articles that are going to come up at town meeting and comment on them and take questions on them. In addition, we will be hearing from as many of the candidates for town office and Wyndham Southeast School Board for the Guilford seat as attend. And there will be an opportunity for each candidate to speak for a few minutes and then also be questioned by a couple of voters. Rick Zamor, our town moderator, is also moderating pre-town meeting. And there are cookies and stuff at the end. And the other piece of this was just to mention that at the same venue, Broadbrook Community Center, on Saturday night, which is March 2nd, the famous annual Sugar on Snow Supper presented by Broadbrook Grange will be taking place. And there is information available on the calendars, on the town website and Front Porch Forum. There's an email address for people who want to reserve seats ahead of time, which is a good idea, especially for the 5 and 6 o'clock seatings. And there's also a 7 o'clock seating, which sometimes has seats still available later in the week, but the other two tend to fill up. Shall I go into the menu? It's ham, baked beans, mashed potatoes, homemade rolls, deviled eggs, very popular item. And of course, the featured item is sugar on snow using genuine Guilford syrup, and we hope some genuine Guilford snow, and pickles and homemade donuts. It's $15 for adults, $5 for kids. I think it's ages 5 to 12, and for really little kids, it's $2. And it's a great event. Hope you all decide to attend one or both of these upcoming events.
And Don, where can people find information about the email address to sign up?
It's on Front Porch Forum. There's a calendar on Front Porch Forum. If you scroll to the bottom of any given Front Porch Forum, you'll see it there. It's also on the town website. And as I say, there's the person who takes the reservations likes to do it by email. It's because that way when she's not home, she can come home and find your reservations. You don't pay until you show up, and it's a pretty good process. And what we like to see, and often happens, is we get lots of groups of people who sign up together, and so people are assigned by table, like at a wedding, sort of. And so you can sit at a table with a bunch of your friends or relatives.
Dan, can you tell people that the pre-town meeting is upstairs this year?
And the pre-town meeting is upstairs this year.
Good.
It's always been in the dining room downstairs, but last year we had so much turnout that it was quite crowded, and we used all the chairs that were there, and people were even standing. And so we got the idea to move upstairs where there's more square footage, and the Select Board will have the privilege of sitting up on the stage, and that frees up even more of the floor space. So we've set up a lot of chairs today. I think it's about 130 or 40, something like that. We do now, as I think most people know, have an elevator from the ground floor to the second floor, and that's one of the reasons that we thought it would be quite permissible for us to use the second floor. And I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, next on the agenda is changes to the agenda. I'm not aware of any agenda order, changes to the order, so we will continue ahead to approval of the minutes. We need to approve the minutes of February 12th, 2024. So thank you, Michael. Is there a second? Thank you, Rusty. Is there any discussion about those minutes? No. All right. Since we're in what's this called? Hybrid, thank you. Oh, I could think it was bifurcated. I think that was hybrid. We'll start, we'll take a roll call vote for the approval of the minutes. So Tara. Oh, I can't hear you. Oh, what?
She's muted.
You're approving.
I'm here. I'm sorry.
That's
Aye.
okay. Good, thank you. We're on. All right, Rusty.
Aye.
Michael, Miranda,
Aye.
and Zon says aye. Thanks very much. So we'll approve those. Okay, then we'll move right on to the updates and reports. And tonight, because Eric has been ill, she's actually attending the meeting in her office. And I think that she would be willing to give her the town administrator report here online. So Erica, if you're there, it's all you. Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm very sorry. I'm just in my office in the other room. Oh, God.
Sorry, I did
Can you
that.
hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. Let me pull up my notes about what I've been doing. Hi, Tara. I'm sorry that you're sick. I've been sick too. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to keep it quick this time. So the town report, hopefully most of you have received it in the mail. Got mine today. So that was fun to figure out about the mailing lists for that and get that out in the mail on time. Our town audit is online now, and many previous years are too on the town website. Ellie and I, mostly Ellie, as I often say, but we have been working on Algiers Fire District, a contract between them and Commonwealth Dairy for the sewer usage that comes out of Commonwealth Dairy and through the sewer in Algiers and down into the Brattleboro. What's it called? It goes to the pump, basically to the pump station in Brattleboro through at the Welcome Center. And so they have a contract that covers the usage of Commonwealth Dairy. And we're working on that with Algiers Fire District, and we're so close to getting it. So good work, everybody there. The next thing I've been doing is contacting all the annual appointments that the select board needs to make at their first meeting after the town meeting. And I think I've pretty much heard from everybody that will continue to do their annual appointments. So thank you, everybody, for responding to me. And I've been preparing for tonight's public hearing about the South Stony Hill name change. And that's where I'll stop. Thank you.
Also, I will just add that Eric has been taking care of a lot of details for tomorrow night's meeting as well as for the town meeting coming next week. So, good. Thank you, Erica. Thanks very much. All right, thanks a lot. We'll move on to Dan and the Highway Commissioner.
I'll come over here, we can see.
Yes, please, thanks.
Well, nothing's really changed much since the last time I was here. We've been doing a little plowing, a little salting, a little sanding. We're still cutting brush, cutting dead trees that we can. Our new machine will be here on Wednesday. They're gonna be delivering it sometime Wednesday morning. But we got, some of the roads are a little rutty and some of them are potholy, but this morning I went out riding around just to see if it was soft enough that we could do a little grading, and I'm hoping by Thursday when the rain comes through and things will soften up a little bit so we can start smoothing things up. So Well, other than that, I mean, we've been working on the equipment and trying to keep things running, so.
Okay.
But that's all I got. Anybody got any questions? I'll be more than glad to answer.
Anybody have a question for Dan?
So,
All right.
and I still think, I may eat my words, but I still think mud's not gonna be bad this year. Just because of the way the weather's been.
It's coming up so.
Yeah, it's coming slowly and it's been warm and, it's been freezing. We really haven't had much cold weather. So I'm knocking on wood that hopefully things will be pretty smooth. So,
Okay. All right, thanks very much, Dan.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thanks so
All right.
much.
We have a note that we were gonna have a report from the Recreation Commission.
We do. Yes.
Oh, good,
Hi.
okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I was looking for a different voice.
Yes, I bet you were. I'm also part of the Recreation Commission. I'm
Great.
Megan Arthur. So yeah, I'm happy to give some updates from the past few months. We've been up to a couple things. We put out a recreation survey in November, which hopefully people received. We got some great responses that looked at what interest folks have in recreation events that we could increase access to in the community, and also how people get their information so that we can promote more what is happening. We pulled together a multi-group recreation meeting in January of all the various recreation-minded groups, like the Recreation Club and the Brattleboro Community Center, and we had great attendance. About 25 people were there. And that way we can figure out how to better work collaboratively. And out of this meeting came a trails work group. One of the biggest interests in the recreation survey was interest in multi-use non-motorized trails. And I know in the past there have been trails work groups. I think it had been quiet for a while, and I think this is now getting started in great part because of Jeanette Tokar's work with the Planning Commission. She pulled this together, and we had a meeting last week. So if people are interested in being involved in this, definitely reach out because there's great interest. Some questions came out of the meeting. One was the ability of homeschoolers to access school programming and if that's possible. So some clarification could be received there. Another was that there's a whole bunch of money available through grants from the Vermont Agency of Natural Resources and the Department of Forests and Parks. And I'm not sure if anybody in the town of Guilford is looking at these grants and if we're organized in applying for them. But boy, they are abundant. Some of them are very specific to trails, and some of them are just recreation in general. So also, we have the Newtown website is gorgeous. Whoever is in charge of that, thanks so much for putting this together. We've started to change what the recreation. We created part of the town website to be just for recreation. So you might have seen recently there's a recreation calendar that's available. Anybody in the public can submit recreation events to the calendar. They're seen first by the town administrator and then they're published. You can subscribe to the calendar so it automatically populates your personal calendar for this. And upcoming, we're soon going to have kind of resource pages for all the recreation activities and parks that are available in Guilford. So it'll be a bit of a hub of information. I think that's it. One kind of side note in the recreation survey, there was quite a bit of interest in either having a pool or having a reciprocal membership at either the Herron or the Brattleboro pool. So I'm not sure if that's something the town ever wants to take on looking at. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, maybe don't go away.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to say that I'm the select board liaison to the Rec Commission, and Megan has just been such a wonderful addition.
Great.
To Megan, I have a question: is what was to you the most surprising recreation suggestion that came up at that meeting, or just something that you wouldn't have?
There were so many great things. I mean, it was a multiple select survey, but also with write-in options, and so it was wonderful to see what people selected. But more interesting often were the write-in comments. We're people that just have so much energy in the community, so we're just trying to figure out how to bring that energy into fruition. So so many great ideas. I'm not sure that I can pinpoint one. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well, the calendar just seems like it's the sort of thing that people have been talking about, really having coherence,
Yeah.
because maybe we're all just too lazy to look at what actually is coming, but to make it user-friendly for
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
just to realize that their lives can be so much fuller
Yeah.
by paying attention
Yeah.
to all that.
What we found out prior to the multi-group meeting was that there, some people get information from Facebook and some from Front Porch Forum and some people from the Broadbrook Community Center calendar, and just to bring this into one spot would be really helpful. Eventually, the calendar that's on the recreation page of the town website will be published in the Guilford Gazette. So any public members who are submitting to the calendar just have it in by the deadlines for the Guilford Gazette, so that we can also have a paper calendar. So, yeah.
So what's the next Recreation Commission event coming up that you can remember?
Well, I think that's to be discussed later this week. I think there was talk about whether we have Winterfest or we haven't had much winter, so
Maybe it will be the welcome
maybe
spring.
the welcome spring. So yeah.
That could happen anytime.
Yes, yeah. There is room on the commission. If anybody is recreation minded and wants to join and bring energy, we'd love to have you. So.
Great. I'd like to make just one comment that I think it's really fantastic that you had this multi-group meeting. It's great that there's so much energy in these different places in the community, but it's also great that they're all talking together.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
as you mentioned some ideas where people are doing the same thing but in very different places.
Yes.
And why not just talk about it and make sense out of
Yeah,
that for
yeah.
the community? It makes it a better, more streamlined service
Yeah.
for the community. So thumbs up.
Thank
on
you,
that.
thank
Yeah.
you, thank you, everyone.
Thanks so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on next to the next part of the agenda under old business. The Select Board has talked about and agreed that we will, heading toward tomorrow night's meeting and also for the town meeting, that the Select Board would make, we've been asked, and that we would make a position, determine the Select Board collective position on 7 articles of the 27. There are 27 articles that the town will be considering, but there are 7 that folks have asked us if we would consider these and have a stance, a position. And I think that makes good sense. So we've been talking about that for a while, and I think we need to figure out the way that we go about doing this. So let's see, I'll say a couple of things. We did talk about, we suggested to ourselves, I think last time, that we would have a position that would go forward, that we would end up with each article, a position that the Select Board is in favor of a particular article, is not in favor of it. The Select Board could be neutral, or the Select Board could be mixed, that we just have different opinions, and we want to register that strongly. It's entirely possible that we could still say, for instance, register that we're in favor of something, even if one of us doesn't agree. We could decide as a group that that's what we want to do. So I think those will be our 4 choices. And it seems to me that a couple of things I'd like to say going forward. I think that this is good work, hard work for us to do. We'll be talking about these articles and our Select Board thinking about each of these. But I think that what we'll want to defer, what we'll want to say going forward is that tomorrow night, if someone asks the Select Board or at the town meeting, that it'll be our job to support as individuals the Select Board's decision. And that if someone asks, why did we choose that? I think we'd probably refer back to this conversation, and hopefully people will understand why we're making the decisions that we are. So the 7 articles that we need to look at, and it strikes me that what we want to do probably is make I'm just talking through it. Yeah, I'm very eager to hear anybody else's thoughts, but it strikes me that what we will want to do is make each article would have its own motion so that we don't get things confused up, and that we do one at a time and come up with a position. Does that make sense to folks? Yeah? Okay. So the first article that we will be making a position on, I want to just say one more thing, and that's that of the 27 articles that we're looking at, about 10 of them have to do with the general budget of the community, of the town. So some of the decisions that we are making a position on might ultimately affect our budget as we go forward. Not that we're making those determinations, the town's going to make those determinations, but we're hoping that at the town meeting, we'll be able to ultimately and potentially amend the town budget in real time so that we can see what we could be voting on for the town. The budget currently that's in the town report reflects all of the articles we're going to be talking about. All the budget numbers related to those articles are in the budget now. It's not as if we'll be adding anything new at the town meeting. If anything, we might be taking some dollars away or amending the number that's currently in the town in the town report. Does this all make sense so far? Okay. All right, so the first article that we would probably want to take up is Article 11. Shall the voters of the town of Guilford authorize the expenditure of not more than $68,000 to contract with the Windham County Sheriff for law enforcement services?
Is that Article 10?
Yes, Article 10.
Okay.
Yeah, is that? Yeah. That's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, and so, Tara?
So you'd like someone to make a motion to be for, against, mixed, or neutral, and then all of us chat about it?
I think that would make the most sense, actually. If one of us feels strongly or feels like there's a sense, we already have a sense in the group from previous conversations we've had, just to get it on the table and then we can talk about it.
Okay, I just wanted to say something else. Tomorrow we're going to hear from a few people because I'm definitely mixed or neutral on a few things, and I might feel differently tomorrow. But for Article 10, I'd like to make a motion that we are against this article.
Okay.
And the reasoning, the reasoning is.
Just a second. Sorry, first we need to get a second. So before we.
I second that.
All right, now, okay, we got the second. Veranda seconds.
Okay. My reasoning is just that from the details that we've learned, it's not something that can be set in stone for, I believe, a couple years, and the details of working with other towns are not concrete. And I just really think that that's a large amount of money, and I want to keep taxes down. And I think that with what we're doing with the road signs is going to be pretty effective, and I think we've done really good work there to slow people down.
All right.
I don't think we need a presence, a sheriff presence. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Tara. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
I would agree with Tara. I'd like to see it better defined what the services are.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The devil's in the details, and we don't know what the details
We
are.
may not know what the details are.
Well, especially as we would be sharing these resources with other towns to increase coverage, that makes it even more confusing.
Potentially, yeah. And the reason I say that, Brenda, is that this article would allow us to just hire the sheriff's department without going into a multi-town contract, because that's not ready till probably next year. But the conversations are going to be there, I hope, to get us moving toward that. Yeah, my feeling is not dissimilar from the folks here in the room, in the sense that I think that we are doing some work in the community already to monitor and get data and understand what these situations are in a real way, and that it might make more sense for us to think about spending dollars in the next year when we have a real plan that's placed in front of us, rather than we'll hear tomorrow and at the town meeting from the sheriff what some of the options might be, but as it stands right now,
We also got some information from the speeding study, the traffic study, that, when I really tried to understand what the meaning of that 85% thing, it didn't mean that 85% of the people were going above the speed limit.
No.
It meant something other, more complicated, but it did seem as if, it wasn't as bad as I thought it might be, and applying ourselves, I think we should do it in town first.
Okay. All right. I think the way that because we're not affecting any decision, we're not making any decision that's going to affect the town, we're just making a position that will be made public. I don't know that we need to have a community-wide discussion. Hopefully that will happen at the town meeting. Anything that the select board says about this is not going to be binding on the town. The town can make its own decision. It's just, this is what we've determined from our work and so forth. So I would say that we don't need to have a community-wide discussion about each one of these this evening.
And John, I really feel uncomfortable. I don't mean emotionally uncomfortable. I mean ethically uncomfortable trying to really sway people's votes. I feel as if asked, I would share what I got from trying to study the situation. But well, that's all I had to say.
I think, yeah, and that's a very good point, Brandon. And what I would like to say is that let's all bear in mind that every one of these articles are budget items that the select board does control. And so the select board could have chosen to just not even put these dollars into the budget at all. But instead, what we're doing is we're asking the community to make that decision because we're trying to register. We want there to be conversations in the community about some budget figures, some budget line items that have come up in the community repeatedly. Yeah. It's an opportunity for us to have a community discussion, and that's what I think that we're doing here. So I think this is very good. So let's go ahead and take a vote on this one. The motion is that the select board will have a position of being not for this article. All right. So let's go around the room. Tara.
Aye.
All right, Michael. Oh, I'm sorry, Rusty.
It's my middle name, so that's close. Aye.
All right, Michael.
Aye.
Brenda.
Aye.
And Son says aye.
Could I ask I don't know if it's procedural or question. It doesn't have to do with that particular thing, but it's just about who puts the stuff in the budget. If you guys were in control of the budget and you put that in there, for the cops, then, and now you're saying you don't really agree, you don't really support it. I guess it's the whole thing about how this budget was put together then, if, who suggested this $66,000 for the sheriff's department, and that it's actually went through this whole thing where it's put into the thing, and now all you guys are saying, I don't really support it. So I guess I'm just wondering how the budget is made up.
Yeah. I think, I hear the question, I think it's very good. I'd like to not answer it now because not because I don't want to answer it, I actually do want to answer it, but I don't want to take time right now. So maybe, because I think there's a lot that goes into that to be able to answer that well. So let's register the question, Dolores, and then we'll, if there's time, I'll remind me. Let's come back to it, and I'll speak to it later.
Well, it would pertain to all these things that are in the thing, or maybe not the budget related things that you guys are discussing tonight, whether you support it or not.
All right. Well, what I will say then is that each budget item is not put there by the select board necessarily. It's put there by a public discussion that goes on. The select board has workshops, and all these numbers appear there. And we're looking at other last year's figures for sure. And there's a lot of thinking and processing that goes in. So can you hear that I want to be very careful because I don't want to try to, there's no one person that's responsible for these numbers going in or appearing in a certain way. And so it's a group decision that's made. We agreed that we put this in. Also, information changes. When the number first appeared in the budget, in the workshops, we had a different understanding of what this service might look like than we do now. We know more now than we did. And that's partly why we can say no at this point. There's more to it. I can speak to that if you want. All right, so then we'll move on to Article 11. Shall the voters of the town of Guilford authorize the expenditure of not more than $14,500 for increased assistant town administrator and assistant town treasurer staffing?
I so move.
And what would you move that we?
I move that we approve
We're for this.
that we authorize the expenditure.
Nope. Our choices are that we're for it.
Okay. I move that we approve the article. No?
Not quite.
We're taking a
Okay,
position.
We're taking a position.
Help me out here. Okay, I move that we take a positive position. Is that right?
That's good.
I mean, we've never done this before.
No,
We've
this is
never
all new.
been asked to do this before, and it really feels peculiar to me.
Yeah, of course it does, and it is, but we're doing it. So there's a motion on the floor to take the position of being in favor of this article. Is there a second for that?
I'll second it.
Rusty, okay. Okay, is there any discussion about this? I have a thing or two I can say.
I mean, I can say something, but there's been a shuffling of job descriptions at the town office that I've been seeing, every time I come in here, the density of the workload that's on both the town treasurer and the town administrator. And so adding hours of skilled work seems like a reasonable thing to do to support those jobs.
Okay, great. Thank you. One thing I would say is that, and I think we'll hear about this from the folks making the presentation tomorrow, is that currently the town's paying a fair amount of overtime for these services, and that because of the work, it needs to be done in overtime. And so there seems to be real justification for this kind of, so I would be in support of this myself.
So are you saying that if we have the town treasurer and the town administrator working overtime, do they get paid time and a half for overtime? So this would be evened out, it would be a savings. Well, I think it could be. Right, it would be interesting to be able to share with people maybe tomorrow at pre-town meeting at the presentation, what the typical amount of overtime is and, the financial aspect of this.
Okay.
So it would create another position, correct?
Yes.
And so the overtime has not been offset. It's still the 14,500 for the other position, and we don't know the overtime savings, or is there still going to be overtime savings and it equals the 14,500?
I don't know the answers to either of those questions, Tara, but what I understand is that that's at play anyway.
Right. I'm thinking that it's going to offset some of the overtime.
Yes.
That's what makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, also, I'm thinking that it would increase the communication between the town administrator and the town treasurer to have somebody who's on a daily basis conversant with both positions, and so it could increase communication.
Yeah, it harkens back a little bit to the prior practice that Guilford had of kind of cross-training among the offices, and so this would enhance that.
And I think their workload has expanded too over the years also.
Anything else the select board wants to say, anything to offer? Okay, we'll take a vote. So the position motion is that we would be in favor of this. So Tara?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zon says aye. Okay, make a note of that. All right, then the next item looks the same. Shall the voters of the town of Guilford authorize the expenditure of not more than $14,500 for increased town clerk and assistant town clerk staffing? Is there a feeling here in the room, a motion here about a position? We might not be able to make a motion immediately. We might need to discuss for a little while to discern what our feeling is.
So she wants to make hers 40 hours a week as opposed to 30,
That's correct.
and have a new position.
But it's not a new position, it's an increase in the position. And so this $14,500 would go to support that increase and for both of those, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would need to hear what I haven't really heard the proposal in terms of comparing this arrangement of the town clerk and the assistant town clerk now, what hours it takes to do the specific jobs. I feel as if I don't have enough information.
Mm-hmm.
And, I imagine that that Danielle is going to offer a proposal at pre-town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And so
That's the
could we just keep this in abeyance?
Or we could say we're neutral.
Oh,
That's an option. We don't have to be for or against. We could be for, against, neutral, or mixed.
well, I don't know how other people feel about it.
That's what I said.
I'm neutral or mixed, only that she was hired for a 30-hour salaried position and now is wanting more, so I want to know why.
And it's true that the select board, we did have a discussion about this early on. Sometime we got a proposal from Danielle early on in the select board. There are minutes about that we stated that we would choose not to accept that as part of the budget. And then there was a budget workshop at which the numbers were put in so we could have this kind of community discussion. I think it's reasonable. I would say that the select board was earlier not in favor of this idea, so there you have. I'll just say that.
Do we have to vote on that, or can we just say that?
We need to vote about whether we're being neutral or not. We can be neutral.
Will we be mixed?
We can be mixed, whichever, or we can be in favor or against, whatever anybody.
Well, the thing is that I would be against it unless I were convinced otherwise.
And tomorrow and at the town meeting will be the moments at which we will be able to have that. But we've been asked for a select board opinion or a stance as it is right now. I mean, we're also learning just as the community is. That's part of what these discussions are about, I hope, So I don't think it's our job to try to sway the community. But there are people in the community that believe and that we've looked at these questions and have addressed them at some level or other, and so we have a position.
I'm not in favor of this article.
I'm mixed.
Okay.
I think we go with mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Is there? Let's get a motion then. I'll move that the select board's position on this is mixed.
I'll second.
Second, Rusty. Okay. Any further discussion about that? Okay. Tara, are you in favor?
Aye.
All right. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Brenda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, was that Article 12?
That was Article 12, yes. Mm-hmm. And then Article 13, I'll read it. Shall the voters of the town of Guilford authorize the expenditure of not more than $33,000 for increased library staff and program services?
I'm in favor of that article.
You're in favor. Is there a second for that? for us, for the select board?
I would second that.
Okay, as a select board for us to be in favor of that. Okay. So, all right. Is there any discussion there?
Could you, I missed, the movement. Did somebody move to accept it?
I did.
Then Miranda seconded it. Okay.
Okay.
But we can discuss it however we like.
Well, the one thing that I wanted to say that the library itself hasn't emphasized in its appeal to the town, but seems really significant to me, is that any child in Guilford could go to one of the summer camps that they have there at no cost. And I mean, I haven't had children in day camp for a long time. But I mean, that's for each child. It would be, I would imagine, Michael, have you ever had a kid in?
Yeah, it's a great
So could you just throw out something like a number?
In terms of,
How much it costs to have a kid in day camp? For a week.
It's a big range, but from hundreds of dollars to, more.
More hundreds of dollars.
Right, and
So you're saying that money would go to that?
Well, what I'm saying is the services that, the library, in addition to whatever else goes on in that building, hires people at their expense, puts together these programs, and members of the board in the past have even driven kids to have no transportation, I happen to know this, to these camps, saving family members across town, whatever they would be spending in a summer. So you don't have to be a reader or, passionate about, getting videos or something like that, if there are still such things, to benefit from having this library caring for all of Guilford's youth. And that seems really, I didn't know why they didn't quantify, the different offerings that are free to Guilford residents, but that seems pretty significant to me.
Thanks, Brenda. Anything else anybody wants to?
Just like more clarification what the money's going for.
The $33,000.
Yes.
As I understand it, it's a two-pronged number. Part of it will go to support the hiring of a full-time director at a different salary than we've had for the last number of years, and then part of it will go for specific services about being able interlibrary loan services that would more readily activate the library. And
those are the increases.
That's what the $33,000 would go toward. Yeah. And it's not to say that the $33,000 represents a library salary and those services. It's that $33,000 would contribute to budget figures that are already there to be able to make it more, make it a better situation for the library.
So
I'll just say, I think the library does a wonderful job, and I just feel strongly that we should support them.
the other half of the director position is already budgeted, is that correct?
Yes, in all three of these, the last three articles that we've dealt with, there are budget numbers coming from previous years. These are all increases to those previous years that would allow further expansions or further increases. It's yes. Is that clear?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay, so can we, let's see if we can vote on, the motion is to be in favor of this. So I will take a vote and see if we are. Or if three of us vote in favor, then that means the select board's going to be in favor. If three of us vote against, then it means we have to figure out a different position. Okay, so in favor Tara,
Aye.
Rusty,
Aye.
Michael,
Hi.
Miranda,
Aye.
and Zana says aye. All right, so we're in favor. The select board will be read as in favor of that if someone asks. All right, then we go on to the next three articles, which we're going to consider. These three are citizen-led articles, and that, just for a little bit of background, means that the select board's job is to, it doesn't mean they automatically have to come onto the town warning, but it means that the select board has to consider any petition that is provided to the community, provided to the select board. And so the select board received these three, and we wanted to have a townwide discussion about them. So that's why they're on as they are. So Article 16 says,
Is it 15? The
Sorry,
Saturday one?
thank you very much. 15, as soon as I read it, I knew it wasn't right. Article 15, shall the town of Guilford hold its annual meeting on the Saturday immediately preceding the first Tuesday in March at 10 a.m.? And the community will be deciding this. Do we have an opinion that we want to, a position that we want the community to know about?
I am not in favor.
Okay, so you are not in favor. Is that a motion?
I would like to make that motion.
All right.
I would second that.
All right. All right, so there's a motion that the select board would register as being not in favor of this or against it. Discussion, if we need it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not opposed to this. If it creates access for more people.
Yeah.
I'm not strenuously opposed to it. I mean, I appreciate the goodwill that it's presented by, presented with. I would love for more people to be able to come to town meeting. I am sensitive and caring about the limitations that people who work have. I think there are a lot of people who have to work on weekends, just as there are people who have to work during the week. I mean, I would certainly try to have town meeting day be declared a paid state holiday,
Yes.
or even half a day,
Right.
half a day holiday. But I'm not in favor of this.
Okay. Shall we, so the motion now is that the select board will take the position that we are not in favor of Article 15. So let's try voting, see how we do. Tara?
Abstain.
Okay,
No.
no. Michael?
Aye.
So you're voting,
Wait.
by voting aye, you're saying you're in favor of being against. That's correct, okay.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Can you just explain that again? If I say aye, it means I'm in favor of being against it.
Yes,
Okay, aye.
You're in favor of the select board being against it.
Right.
Yes. Okay. All right, and I will, I'm going, so did you said aye?
I said yes, I said aye.
Okay, all right, okay, good. And I'm going to say no. So we need to come up with a different solution.
Wait a second, so you're in favor of,
I'm in favor of the select board, I'm not saying what I think should happen. I'm in favor of the
select board supporting,
the select board having a position of,
I think I'm just getting addled here. The vote that I gave was that as a select board member, I do not support this item on the warning.
correct.
Okay.
That's what I understood.
So I voted aye, And that was the right thing to do for saying that I
For your
didn't.
opinion, for what you
Okay.
just, yes, exactly.
I'm sorry.
That's
this
all
is-
right. No, it's very difficult, but
It's a
so,
word problem.
yes. What we need to do though is come up with a different motion, because that did not pass.
Well, I move that we say that the select board is mixed.
I'll second that.
Okay, Tara?
Aye, we're mixed.
All right,
Aye.
all right.
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Okay.
Great, okay, that was easy.
It's very hard. Okay. All right. Shall the town, Article 16, shall the town of Guilford adopt all budget articles by Australian ballot? So again, I would take a motion about a select board position.
I will take a motion in favor.
You take a motion in favor. Is there a second for that?
Uh-oh.
Okay, all
Well, at
right.
least people can't say that we all agree about everything. It's important.
Yes, and it's, yeah, and this, okay.
Can I ask a question about absentee ballots? So Australian ballots, everyone would be voting at home, and would they not be able to vote until after whatever meeting is held? Either it's going to be pre-town or town meeting, and they don't vote until, because my understanding is so many people that know they're not going to town meetings request an absentee ballot, and they go ahead and they fill it out prior to town meeting. And isn't that the same thing as an Australian ballot?
Yeah, what you're talking, people voting at home is an Australian ballot. That's correct. Now, the fact is, I don't know the exact answer to whether, well, a few things are going to happen if we adopt these. Guilford has a lot of homework to do to figure out what happens next. Because let's presume that we adopt both of these next two. That means there will be no elections from there will be no budget articles and no public questions adopted on the floor. But Guilford still has a tradition of some other things being adopted on the floor. So would we have a little tiny select board meeting? I'm not clear about that. I don't know. We're trying to research and figure out. We're trying to learn from other towns. So. And the point is, yes, people would begin balloting. People could begin voting because that's controlled not by us. We don't control when the ballots go out. We do control when the informational meeting might happen. The only reason we would have to have an informational meeting is if we have all three of our questions by Australian ballot, and we don't have all three of them. If we pass both of these, we'd have almost all three of them by Australian ballot, but not all of them. And so there's some gray area for Guilford.
But you can't vote on the budget on an absentee ballot right now.
You cannot vote now on the budget without appearing at the town meeting.
Okay.
And you would not be able to vote on if we accepted it, there would be no vote at an informational meeting. There would be no floor vote.
Okay. So that answers my question. And it makes complete sense that you can't vote on the articles by requesting an absentee ballot at this point.
You cannot. That's correct.
Okay.
Well, I'm not sure if this is relevant, but Marlborough went to a complete Australian ballot. They abolished their town meeting, and I noticed in the paper that they were going to have a vote this year about reestablishing their town meeting. So I don't know whether they had buyer's remorse. They missed their town meeting, or they found that the lack of public discourse, anyway, I don't know.
But there were more people voting on issues when we went to the Australian ballot the last few years than we normally have, and I think that's a great representation of the town.
Yeah, I hear you, Rusty. I hear that. I think the only other, for me as an individual member of the community, the only other thing that really is really important to me is that we're doing it right now, and we will be doing it at the meeting. We will be affecting our budget during the meeting. The community will be talking about the impacts of the budget. We would not be able to do that. There would just be a budget presented to the community, no discussion. And there would be information, people could learn about it, but there would be no opportunity for us to amend a budget or change anything, which we've done. And I've been at town meetings where we have seen that very thing happen. That would not be possible. So either the vote for a budget would be either up or down. And if it's down, then some towns have to deal with this. They have to start all over again on the budgeting process and redo the budgeting process and then put that in front of the town to vote by Australian ballot. So the discussion part would be lost in our community. And it wouldn't be as many people voting, I get that. But there's the vocal part that concerns me. So,
but does it have to be eliminated? Like if we adopt Australian ballot, do the pre-town meeting and the town meeting have to be eliminated?
No, but you can't affect anything. You can't adjust it. At the town meeting, we can.
Because it's already gone out in the mail.
Yes, and because this is being addressed at the town meeting. It's questioned for the town at that time, not in general. So yes, we could have a discussion. You have a discussion, and you'd hope that people wouldn't have voted. We might be able to have the town meeting earlier or something like that. Right. But we might not have that be able to pull together.
We didn't have that problem in the last few years, though, right?
Well, we weren't. That's true, and we were doing budgets then at that time. Yeah.
Well, if the town votes on this and it gets approved, then we can make arrangements to hold the town meeting earlier, because we would have to, and then send it out.
I'm not sure about that, Tara, because there's state guidelines. I just don't know, and I'm not trying to say it's not true, but there are state guidelines about when that informational meeting has to happen. There's a timeline for that.
I don't think that we're complete. I think that we can, if it gets voted on by the town, and I'm at this point, I'm either mixed or against it. And part of my feelings is just about tradition. I'm a very traditional person, and I was at Guilford School, and I had the bake sales and did the childcare, and that means a lot to me. So I don't want to lose that, and I don't want our community to lose that. But I think that if the community votes for this because they want more access, then it's our responsibility to make it earlier. So whatever is on the piece of paper they're voting on is accurate.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. Yeah.
But if I wonder whether, I suppose if we had an earlier town meeting where there was public discourse about all of this stuff, and it was well attended, then we would have an informed citizenry making decisions. I think part of the tradition is really that people need information to make these decisions. And we can't force people to to inform themselves, but we also have to live with their decisions. And so town meeting does seem to be a way to funnel information back and forth. And anyway, I've said enough. So what shall we do with this?
I'll make a motion that the select board take the position that we are against this article.
I'll second.
Okay. This is just.
Okay, let's just move along.
Okay, so can we go ahead and vote on that and see what
So a
happens?
yes vote means that the select board member is against it.
No, No,
Okay.
not quite. You're close. A yes vote means that the select board will be against it, not the person.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Tara?
I'm abstaining.
Okay.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So there we go. That's a tricky one. So the select board is stating as a board that we are stating that we are against. And the public is seeing us being very mixed about this, but our position is against. Okay. All right, this is hard. Keep going here. Shall the,
16.
we're on Article 17 now.
What about, oh,
We just,
we did 16?
Yes, we did.
Oh, okay,
now we're doing 17.
okay.
This is the same.
Oh, okay, right.
It's
right.
the same Australian ballot question, but it's about all public questions. All public questions are most of the issues, it's all defined in statute, but they're most of the issues that are not either election issues or budget issues.
You mean like who's going to be on the cemetery commission?
That's an election issue.
Oh,
It's like,
so public questions.
we have some this time around. Let me see, let me just.
I'm
look.
sorry, I just,
No, it's good. This is all good.
Tax exemptions.
Yes, tax exemptions,
Oh,
which are
okay,
coming up.
thank
Yes,
you.
exactly.
okay.
And there,
Only tax exemptions?
No.
say it again?
Only tax exemptions?
No, not only, it's just an example. Yeah,
Okay.
there are others. The question of shall we have our town meeting on an alternate day is a public question. That's not an election issue, that's not a budget issue. It's a town public issue. All right.
I'll make a motion that we take the position that we're not in favor.
Okay, so,
I will second that.
okay. All right, so there's a motion to, is there anything anybody else would like to say about the public questions issue here? Tara? Are you in favor of the select board being against this article? Position?
I know, I'm abstaining.
Nay.
Okay, no,
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
and aye. Okay, folks, thanks a lot.
Okay.
That's a lot of work. Oy.
Okay, but we don't have to do, we don't have to take a position on all the rest of this, right?
No, we're done.
And the only reason we took a position is because it was requested of us. Because somebody just said online that this is they think it's a waste of our time, but it was requested that the townspeople want us to present a position.
Right.
And I think it's because there are some, yes, I think that's right, Tara, and we're responding to that, partly that request from the community, more than one person, and because we also have been dealing with some of these issues, and so we have been dealing with some of the, especially the budgetary issues.
Well, and people who care enough to watch this meeting in person, online, or on TV can see that we have a range of responses that reasonable people can respond differently to all of these things and amicably.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think you went from 13 to 15. I'm not certain what happened to Article 14.
We're not taking a position. We're not taking a position on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, we're only taking a position on the 7 the reason for the 4 in the budget part of the debate are because those are all rather significant budget increases that would stand the chance of causing the town to need to collect more taxes to adjust those. So we wanted to put those before the town. And the 3 final ones that we talked about were our citizen-led petitions, and there was interest about how the select board feels about those. So there we go. All
Can I
right.
ask why you didn't do mixed when the board was mixed?
You saw us do this, yeah, because we had, I don't know.
No, I mean, well, you had mixed against and for. So you had like 2 people on a couple of them that was against, and then the other ones were, is it by whoever gets them, is it like majority?
Yeah, that's
how you do it?
That's how we do all of our work, is the majority votes win.
So everybody would have to say they had mixed feelings about it.
Everyone would
to
have
be
to agree
mixed.
that when someone moved that we should represent ourselves as mixed, the board agreed that that was it. That's
Okay.
what we should do.
Can I ask a question?
Not everybody had to agree with that even. Yeah.
Has it ever happened before when the board made comments?
No, we have never been, I mean, I've only been on the
Would it be the right
select
thing maybe
board.
for the board to recuse and not to make comments? I understand some people ask, a number of people asked to make comments toward the articles. But would it be better if the board recused and not made comments?
Well, they're in the record now. I don't know what.
I understand, just in general.
I mean,
it hasn't happened before, this is the first time you're doing it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to respond to what people, a number of people have said, presumably you have studied this situation and we really want your guidance. And, I think it feels really weird and uncomfortable, but honest, those are our honest positions, and anybody who really wants to dig down and find out how the 5 of us feel about it, they can just run the tape,
This is also the only time that we can talk about it. And we're going to be put on spot tomorrow in front of the whole town and people are going to ask us questions. So,
Yeah.
a lot of people have a lot of different opinions, and this is the only time we can talk about it.
It's the only, right.
Right, open meeting law.
We have the right at the meetings tomorrow and at the town meeting, we, as individuals, we can offer voices, but the select board, we can't speak on behalf of the select board except now. You're right, Tara, that's very
And
good.
we can't find out, we can't convince each other by email, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't even know how we all would have, I don't even know how we would all have voted. So, yeah, as one chatter said that this is a waste of our time, perhaps it was. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see more as we go along what how this plays out. But at this point, I think the community sees that these issues are complex, and we want the discussions to be open and communicative at the town. It's so. All right, the next action is by statute, not time limited. It won't go on forever, but we couldn't put a time on it. You can't determine that by statute. It's a hearing about a request to rename South Stony Hill Road. So what we're going to do here now, the way this works, as I understand it, is we're going to, because it's a hearing, the select board will hear from the community if there are people that have feelings about renaming that particular road. And I think if Erica could show people, can you put it up on the screen, Erica? If you don't know where South Stony Hill Road is, it's a very short 200-foot road off of Weatherhead Hollow Road. As you're going south, it's to the right. And then the process is that abutters to that road have all been notified of this hearing. And I can see that some of them are here tonight. And so they have first right to speak to this issue. And then just so the community knows, the select board will be hearing. We are not required to make a decision this evening, and we may not make a decision this evening, nor are we required to make our decision in public. I just want to be very clear about that. The select board commonly does all of its work in public, but this decision does not need to be made in public. And it doesn't mean we won't make it in public. I'm just saying that that's the case. So there's the map up on the screen. And Stony Hill Road is right, South Stony Hill. There's a very tiny little bit of it. You can almost not see it on this. It's right where I'm putting the cursor right now, and Erica's coming in close. We're both hovering around it right now, okay? You can see that above that on the north end, there is a road called Stony Hill Road. And in the old days, there's a path or what is it, a class 4 road?
It's a trail.
It's a trail. It's a trail there. Okay. So the way this is going to work, folks, is we're going to open up the hearing. And first we're going to hear from Roman Nemeth, because he's the closest, he's not the closest, just in the butter right there. And I'm just going to read a message from him because he could not be here tonight. So I'll read part of the message. It was the message that he wrote to Erica. I'll read the part that's germane. As I mentioned, I discussed with Paul Belligore some options about the name of the road, and he saw no objections to these. See below. Paul did not offer ideas at that moment, at least he did not share with me at that time. And so here are some names that Roman Nemeth is recommending for us to hear. Marion Baker Road. Marion Gauthier Baker fell off a horse in 1850, he thinks 1859, and died on the road. There's a small memorial on the at the spot about the unfortunate event. Wife of D. Baker. There's also the Baker Cross Road leading from Weatherhead Hollow to Baker Cemetery, not too far down the road. Right. And I'll just say at this point that it says right in statute that one of Select Board's considerations is not to confuse the public with similar named roads. So that's why he writes that. Another name that he suggests is name of the original white settlers who built the house on right at the corner of Stony Hill and Weatherhead Hollow, where Roman Nemeth lives, and he thinks the name is Stevens, but he might be wrong. I'm sure there are records in town books, and we've begun to do a little research to see what the name. We haven't gotten all the way back to the original deeds yet. Another idea that was Rainbow Road as a celebration of diversity. There's a Rainbow Bridge, and I don't know where that is. He has a long web link here. In the movie Thor, the Rainbow Bridge is in the movie Thor. So, and then he very humorously offers one other name, which is Roman's Road, and that's because it's my first name, he said. And of course, because of the Romans, and then he says, just kidding.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what Roman Nemeth would like to suggest to us. And then I think we'll turn next to, I see Paul's here and Christina's online. Maybe we can take this picture, the map down now, Erica, if you're willing. And Paul, do you want to speak?
My idea is to, the reason why we're renaming to start with is to give guests who travel to Vermont an idea of how to make that connection to the Viking Village easier. So we thought making it very simple, call it Green Mountain Road. Something very simple that does not involve dead people or perhaps unknown settlers from 1600s. It makes it easier for the board not to spend time thinking about it. It's Green Mountain, it's the entry to the Green Mountain State. And Green Mountain, the idea, that's what we came up with.
Great.
Yeah, we just wanted something that would promote Vermont.
Great. Okay, thank you, Christina. All right, and I think that maybe Will Lewis was on the call. I'm not sure if he doesn't seem to be here anymore. Oh, there he is. No, Will, hi.
Yes, I'm here.
Good, yes. Nice to see you.
Hi.
What would you like to tell us?
I didn't have anything specific except I wasn't, the road is shorter than I thought it was, but that's perfectly okay. I think I'm in favor of changing the name because lots of people coming to us get confused about where Stony Hill Road is. I tell them they have to come from the north, but they don't pay attention and they wind up going through someone's yard. That's confusing. As to the name, the new name, I didn't have any ideas. The Baker one is interesting. I hadn't thought of that because I'm familiar with that monument down there.
Yes.
But I'm just in favor of the idea, and whatever you decide, I think will be fine with me. Since I think my father named Stony Hill Road itself, so that's, one is good enough for us.
I guess the reason why we're trying to rename is for safety reason.
No, that's
When
good.
people make that wrong turn, they get to the ATV pass, and some of them attempt to actually continue on that road. And it's quite dangerous during the winter time when it's dark, and we had numerous phone calls from elderly people in fear, where we don't know where we're going, help us. So we had to tell them to back out and make your way back to the asphalt and make a turn. So it's, I think it's the safety of what really
Okay, good. All right,
we are talking about here. So the name of the road is.
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah.
And the road's not passable by any normal car.
Right, and there's no sign, on top of it where it says dead end technically.
Yeah.
We do have a sign at the bottom of Stony Hill that says no outlet. I
Right.
mean, but people don't.
People don't seem
They
to
don't,
know
well,
what that
they don't pay
means.
attention.
Yeah,
They
and I'll just say, as a
understand,
person who didn't come from this part of the world, I have no idea what no outlet means.
I thought it was no
Because I never
shop.
saw it in such a.
We used to name them, we used to put dead end.
Yeah, it used to be
Then
dead
the
end.
state said no.
Right,
it's
right,
gotta be no
exactly.
I
outlet.
liked dead
I
end.
liked it.
Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, I just think, we're dealing with a lot of different issues. So I think the select board's hearing that there are plenty of feeling in the community that, at least from the abutters, that changing the name of the road makes good sense for safety and for just sensibility in the state here.
Can I also add that
Yes.
we had somebody at the Viking Village that needed first responders.
Right.
And there was a group that showed up and they were waiting around. I said, "What are you waiting for?" And they said one of them went to the wrong Stony Hill. And it's not just basic tourism safety.
Right.
It's also safety in terms of emergency response.
Yeah, yeah. Well appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, certainly.
Yeah. All right. So the next part of this hearing then would be to open it up to anybody else in the community that has anything they'd like to say about this, that preferably isn't something we've already heard.
I'm just concerned that Green Mountain Road might be, like Green River Road, having two greens for strangers. But I do feel as if, maybe we could have a subcommittee to make recommendations about a name that would be agreeable and simple for everybody.
Let's see, so I think that's a good idea, Veranda, potentially. I think what we need to do is, if the board's comfortable, we can say that we've conducted the hearing, we've heard from the community, and if anyone else has anything else they want to say, they can certainly write to any one of us or all of us to let us know what they're thinking about this. And then our job would be to take this hearing, this information, and then begin the next steps, which would be to consider it, make a decision if we will rename it or not. And then if we do, what will we name it if that's a decision that the select board makes. So we don't have to act this evening. And so it would be a TBA on the next steps. And I would make it a priority to get it done fairly soon.
Yeah, I think it should be a priority to get it done soon, because with mud season coming up, it just increases the danger to people who are unfamiliar, in unfamiliar territory.
Sure.
And I'm sure that there are people who would enjoy to participate in naming and present maybe 3 choices to the abutters.
Absolutely, I would second that, to have other people involved, to be involved in the naming.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
100%.
Yeah, good, all right. So is there anyone, Tara, I see your hand go up.
Is Sean?
No. Tara, I can't.
Sorry.
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now? I
Yes.
do like the idea of honoring the woman that passed, like Marion Road. And I also just wanted to say that there's also an East Mountain Road very close by.
Right.
So, and that will send the rescue workers way the heck out there.
Right.
So that's also a consideration.
That's nice.
Well, let's see, I'll propose, not as a motion, I'll just propose that the hearing is complete unless any one of you wants to make a motion that we continue moving forward with decision-making this evening. All right?
Just a quick question. I don't know anything about the GPS, revamping, but whatever, you can change the name, but if the GPS is still sending them down Mud Hill Road, that's where they're gonna end up.
Yeah, exactly. It's all part of it. Yeah, thanks very much, Steve. We're hooked in with the assessor clerk, and she has a direct line to the E911 naming system and all that stuff. So
Yes, and I'm sure also that the Belagores have the skill to connect with Google Maps and get them to correct their famous directions.
which reads right out of E911. We'll do. Yeah, okay. All right, I think then we'll move ahead, folks. Thanks very much for all this input. And again, if there's more input that people want us to have, this is a hearing, but if there's more that we should be hearing from people, let us know soon. Thank you. New business. We'll go right on to the next item on the agenda. And this is very brief. I just simply want to review for us and for the community that at the March 11th meeting, the meeting directly after the town meeting, the select board will be doing its annual approvals and I've got everybody's whatever. Here it is. We have to do annual appointments of all the officers and servicers in the town of Guilford. It's many people in our town. This town is run by volunteers. Thank you to all of them. And there are many people who will be reappointed if their terms are up. That will happen at the March 11th meeting. So we do it as a kind of a slate, a one vote sort of thing. We don't go through each person and consider each person. And everyone's being either communicated with about their desire to continue serving, or if they're not serving, then the appropriate person is taking, a chairman of a committee or whatever it is taking up the responsibility of finding a suitable replacement in time for this to happen. So we all just know that will happen at the March 11th meeting. Okay, folks, thanks. It's time for the warrants. Veranda, we're going to have Veranda read the warrants tonight.
Okay, I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week, February 18th, 2024 for the sum of $7,271.84. Payroll week, February 25th, 2024 for the sum of $7,627.47. Expense warrant number 2415P for the sum of $3,262.68. Expense warrant number 2415 for the sum of $18,146.18 for a total of $36,308.17.
I'm happy to second that. Is there anything in your session?
Yes. So the big ticket items are for Anson Baldwin to do a tree removal for $2,500, and Danny has an annual $20,000 budget for tree removals, so it's not going to break the bank. Marjorie Ray is moving from ARPA expense to the 003 budget for technical support. People will remember that we used some ARPA funding for that. The Conservation Commission has gotten some new town maps printed, and those are available at the town office. Monahan Safer has been working on Jason's Supreme Court case appeal, and that's the $2,350. And this brings the total for the new lawsuit to $19,641, with the Supreme Court hearing still to come. And I understand that the law firm estimates that the total will be around $30,000, which is similar to the last one. So that's my explanation from, supported by Erica of the Warrants.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right. Tara, you willing to approve these warrants?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Zon says aye. Thank you. Just want to also note that, just for the community to note that on a monthly basis, we look at the budget progress, the actuals against the budget, and the select board, we don't review them like this, but we do look at them. And if there's anything we note, then we make it aware to this staff. All right, other business. I don't think there's any other business this evening. I'm not aware of any correspondence. Actions from the previous meeting included, we approved 4 sets of minutes. We accepted a professional audit for fiscal year 23. What that means, just so people understand clearly, is that we accepted, there's a process we go through where we get a letter from the professional auditor, the audit team. That letter just commends their work to us, and we have the choice of selecting it or not, of approving it. We chose to approve it. And I want to make clear that just for tonight, so that people know that the professional audit can come, and usually does come, many audits that I've been involved with come with recommendations from the professional audit on steps that can be taken by any organization for improving recordings, improving accounting practices, improving all sorts of technical aspects. And there were no recommendations from the audit firm this year for Guilford. So that's a very strong statement about the quality of the work that our staff did in working with the auditors. So that's one of the reasons that we accepted that.
And we should give a special thanks to Ellie and Erica for that.
Thank you. We approved a service contract to be included for the new grader that's coming, and we approved the warrants last time. For tonight, actions taken this evening, we approved the minutes. We determined select board positions on 7 different articles that the town will be addressing tomorrow night and at the town meeting in a week. And we approved we conducted a hearing, no action was taken, and we approved the warrants to be paid. So that's it for tonight. Before we stop, Dolores, I just wanted to ask you, do you want me to take a minute and explain more about the question you had in the beginning? Okay, I'll take just a couple of minutes. So the reason that the select board, the budget process, which is a public process, by the way, we take last year's budget, and through a series of workshops, we all look at every single number that's coming in, and then there are recommendations that come from various places and various sources in the budget at certain items. Say, for instance, this idea of increasing potential sheriff presence in the community. So the reason that particular number got put in was it was basically pulling a number from a hat. We're in conversations now with the sheriff about a plan that the sheriff might have for multi-town policing. And so we're part of that conversation. We had understood at the beginning of the budget process that planning was going to perhaps be available in our next budget season. So we put a number in the budget in case. And this was a set of recommendations and understandings about what we thought might happen when the budget process started. during the course of the budget process, we understand that the sheriff's not ready to run that program yet. It'll be in the next fiscal year. So the numbers were already in the budget, it's already been put out and everything like that. So there's nothing that says that the town might not choose to there are people in this community who feel very strongly that we need a police presence. And they want us to pay for that. So here's our opportunity to have that conversation with the community at the larger level. Does it need to happen at $68,000? No, it could be twice that. It could be, we do know that to provide 24/7 coverage in a town like Guilford would cost about $500,000 a year. So we chose 68,000 as a number to go forward with. So that's one example about how a number gets into the budget and what happens to it. In the case of, for instance, the town assistant and the town treasurer the assistant to the treasurer and the assistant to the town administrator, that came after some consideration for what tasks need to be done and what a realistic salary might look like. And so that's how that got in. You know. So they all have massaging and working there. Some of the numbers they start as kind of like picking a number out of the sky and figuring it out, and we work at numbers that way. Some of them get changed, and some of them are it takes a while. It's not a simple process for one thing, or one way of doing it. Okay. No, go ahead, Paul.
I just want to thank the town auditors, Kathy, Leslie, Erica, and everybody else who helped with the town report. I just wanted to say this is not an easy project. It takes considerable amount of time, efforts, and skills.
Yes, and thank you, Paul, for your part in that.
Yeah, so I just wanted to thank everyone who did the town report.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, I mean, the level of commitment that the auditors and, I would single you out because I had never seen you at work as an auditor before, it was extremely helpful, and your diligence and commitment to this town really matter.
And questions like this, you can also send to the town auditors, we will be able to answer those as well.
Yeah, it was more of like how the whole thing was put together, not anything specific.
Okay.
Connie Burton, Weatherhead Hollow Road. I just wondered, when you're doing this budget process, people that are in charge of various budgets, do you go to them and get their preferred, so get a budget from them and then put all these budgets of all the town people who handle budgets all together and go from there?
And the select board looks at every single one of the numbers, and we've talked about a number of them in different ways. And as you saw us tonight, there are some numbers that we didn't want to put in, but the group finally, the budget process group finally decided to put those numbers in. They get moved around and adjusted that way, but they all start from a place. Yeah. Okay, I would take a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Thank you, Rusty. Is there a second?
Happy to. I'll second.
Happy to second. All right. Tara, favoring adjourning? Aye. Yes, aye. All right, Rusty?
Aye.
Michael? All right. Miranda?
Aye.
Zon says aye. Thank you all very kindly.
Aye.
We'll see you tomorrow night at a meeting, and then in 2 weeks.
That's right.